Yo guys, Beast, back with some more Beastly content. So today we're going to just start off by planting some yield boosted mushrooms. We're just going to be growing these alongside while we are building the farm. So first of all, we're actually going to be tearing down the greenhouse today and then building an entirely new facility. It's going to be kind of similar in design to this one, except for, well, we're not really going to worry about boxing in anything or anything like that. It's just going to be a industrial sized mass growing facility using close to max facilities, but we did leave like 20 room or something like that for other facilities. I think on season 3 actually I'm going to have an alt, maybe even 2, just so that I can use them for plot locations, because that sounds like 250 free plot locations per alt, and I can have like 500 more plot locations. Sounds very nice, but for now we're going to just do like, I think it's probably like a 200 plant. I'm not 100% sure. When it comes to like the irrigation and the lighting and stuff, that does take up some function facilities. There's also the 20 being taken up from deviations, so it's already down to like 230 the instant you're using it in your own base as a planter box. And I've seen people recommend just like doing just planter boxes in an alt, but I've never really seen anyone say do planter boxes in your base and then also the alt. Maybe even have 2 alts and then you can do it in 3 different bases. That would be amazing. I can't wait to try it out in season 3. Can't try it out in season 2 because we're too far into the season apparently, but on to the next thing, which is going to be tearing down this greenhouse. Now the main reason why we decided to get rid of this because we were actually reaching like 243 or something like that here. 244 function facility right here with this bad baby here. The problem is that the lighting was just impossible to get right because you only have a 1 block space to light a 3 block area. And no matter what, I mean, you can't really put it on the ceiling tiles, so there was really no way of lighting all of the plants, and most of the center doesn't even have plants anyway, so I decided we were just going to go ahead and rebuild it. And the first thing you need to do when you go ahead and do this, at least for me, is I like to actually keep my irrigation systems, especially because you can avoid doing some of the pipings and stuff. Very, very nice. So I just moved all my irrigators over. Initially, I actually had a couple different designs before I settled on this final large-scale one that you're going to be seeing here shortly. But for now, we're just going to be tearing this down. And once you actually get the automatic irrigators off, and we actually also relocated our lights as well, just so that we didn't have to rewire them. They'd all be wired together. We could just throw them into a new spot, attach some power, and be good. Because we will be killing everything that's actually running power to anything here currently. All of it will be being destroyed, as well as the old grow facility. As soon as the crops are done being grown for the mushrooms, we're just going to transfer the rest of the contaminated plants over to our new grow facility once we get that built, and we're working on that, which we will be doing very shortly. But for now, what we're doing here is once again just tearing down this greenhouse. And the main thing was just busting out the windows and tearing it down. And I actually don't recommend using windows at all for any of your greenhouse builds for this game, because windows will create 100% light. So unless you're growing something that can actually use 100% light, do not use windows, because windows, they're just a nightmare. They mess everything up. I had windows in my large one, and you're going to see me put windows in it. But eventually I did go back and actually tear down the windowed walls and place them on the walls and get rid of the windows because they were creating 100 light spots in my crop facilities and causing plants to grow slower because they were getting way too much light, which is a big issue when you're growing the contaminated berries. Other plants, 100 light isn't that big of an issue, but when you're growing contaminated plants, they require 40 light, and 100 is 60 more than that. So yeah, definitely don't use light in your facilities. That's the other reason why I didn't really like this facility. It did great for most crop farms, but it didn't really do very well for the contaminated berries on growth time, because it's supposed to be a 12-hour growth time, and growth boosted is supposed to be like a 4-hour growth time or something like that. Here's the first design we started with, and the only reason why we didn't actually keep this design, even though I really liked this design, I didn't think it was a bad design by any means. It's just too small of a crop facility, and I think for most of you, this actually may be like the perfect size. And I'm thinking we actually went through and showed you just real quickly how to lay out the floors and everything in a facility like this. You just make yourself a triangle, and then you attach these square walls to the sides. This could work out as a good facility. You just may want to do like more triangles for the triangle. That way maybe you can have like 3 or 4 walls on each side. Maybe you'll actually be able to get enough of the, boxes placed to actually have a large enough facility to fill up your function facilities. But what we ended up with is just kind of like a blob sort of thing here. As you can see, we're building the platform now, which used a lot of sinister brick. And since we're leaving the old facility up while we do this to grow crops, we have so much sinister brick sitting over there that we could be using, but instead are turning new sinister brick instead. And what it's doing is actually eating up our gravel supply. Now, thankfully, After running the irrigation and the lightings and everything, we got pretty close to 250 anyway, so we don't have that many crops to actually place down. We still have a few facilities we're going to be placing down after the end of this video, but not that many. But as you can see here, we just kept making sinister bricks and then running back and adding onto the platform. We're going to give it a same curved design sort of thing that we did on our first facility, just a little bit larger, and it's not going to have any sort of sanctioned off areas. It's just going to be a simple grow facility with perfect lighting and perfect irrigation. That is the plan. Now we do end up changing the irrigation system. We did do a in-ceiling design again, but for some reason it wasn't working properly and nothing was ever irrigated right. So I moved it all down to the level of the crop planters, and since the platform itself that the base is actually going to be built on is so large here, we are actually able to place nearly 250 function facilities. Once again, if you were doing this on like an alt character and didn't have anything else built or needing power or anything like that, you could very easily go ahead and just build this platform just a little bit larger and be able to easily contain 250 function facilities. But doing one of these large scale ones, while it is power consumptive, it is also the best way to get just a fully hydrated and a fully lighted setup here. That's super easy to plant on. You don't have to climb stairs or anything. You just do it, and then you just gotta adjust your lights and your irrigation. I think I went overkill on the irrigation a little bit, and you will be seeing that in the future, but I think it works very well, and I think it's completely fine, and I'm happy with it. And we did actually disconnect power from our house, and I forgot about my fridge, and it was full of mushrooms, about 237 of them, so we had those saved for a yield boost. That's what we were growing in that facility. But we accidentally left our fridge off while we were building the facility, and it ended up all spoiling to spoiled food, so now we have nothing. We don't even have anything to make any fertilizer or anything. I was going to do yield boost of like a even amount of cabbage, potatoes, and a couple other things, but now we're going to have to go manually farm for our fertilizer material, so next video is probably going to be getting this thing up and going, getting something planted, and getting the results out of it. At least over this farm. I do have about a week's worth of harvesting my old facility, which worked very, very well. The one with the greenhouse and, you know, the facility beside this one we're building right now. I have about a week's worth of footage worth of harvesting those, and I kind of want to just compile all of that. But the problem is there's like 20 different clips there, and some of them I tried to make standalone videos, so they're like 2 hours long, and now I just need to edit them down, and it's just a lot of editing for, you know, a single video, so that's why I kind of postponed the harvesting of that and ended up posting this because, well, one, I decided to build a new facility and I wanted to show it off and I wanted to show you the design because I really like this new design. Two, here we are destroying that other design that I was mentioning. As you can see, that's literally how I laid out the plot farms. You maybe could do it differently. Once again, I think I'd build a bigger triangle or maybe try to make an octagon and run like the square foundations on the side of an octagon or something. That way you could put perfect amounts of plots in every single side and maybe we'd have some walking space. I'm not 100% sure, but here's the design we went with. Once again, as you can see, we did place windows. Super don't recommend doing that. Do not be placing windows on your grow facilities just because the lighting through the window will actually create 100 light spots in your crop facilities. And once again, you don't want that. You can actually kind of see it on the floor when you look at the floor there. You'll see the windows reflecting onto the concrete there, and that's just kind of showing you, yeah, all of those are going to be 100% sunlight spots, which is really going to suck. And you can really see it once we get the ceiling on here. Now, we are going to go ahead and skip ahead. We did skip quite a bit of this stuff here, so we ended up starting just going ahead and planting down the planter boxes. And while I'm not going to show all of this because I kind of did just a bunch of different things on this thing, and there's a bunch of stuff I'm not going to show actually creating, like the irrigation system or anything, but we will do a full walkthrough of it, and I will explain to you how my irrigation and lighting system itself actually does work. But as you can see here, we just went through and placed planter boxes until that was full. Now here it is. Here's actually the irrigation system's main water facility. This is all the water facility and of course our power facility down there, the advanced water generators. But as you can see here, we have 4 osmosis purifiers here, all being ran to 4 water storage containers. They are being fed by 2 water storage containers, which have a pipe being connected to them from 2 water pumps, both individually selected into the storage containers. The storage containers kind of act as a buff for dirty water. If there's extra dirty water and the machine's already full of dirty water on all 4 of the osmosis purifiers, then it can stack up in that storage facility. Then they're placed into the 4 storage facilities, which are all then going to be piped up into the actual farm. And I'll go ahead and show all of that here in a little bit. As you can see here, we were just kind of, touching up the base. We did a couple other modifications. We reran the power for the house so that we were using less power. We still have some facilities unpowered for now, but we do have some power to gain still. We also have a couple more electric eels to catch for a little bit more free power boost there. So we will be doing that eventually. As you can see, we do have like one buzzy bee. As you can see, there's kind of the look of it in there. We haven't covered the full irrigation or lighting system, but you kind of seen the sneak peek in there. You seen going into there. I was just checking here real quickly, seeing if maybe we were able to make any fertilizer, but as I said, nope. We have no fertilizer. We have no mushrooms or anything else, and all we have is 240 12 food. So technically, I guess we could divide that into the 3, and within a few minutes we'd have like 40 or 50 and be able to get started on this. But we'd still need to farm something like Scarlet Calamus or something. But honestly, I don't know, because it's kind of at the time of the night where it's like growth wouldn't really help anything, because I think I'd be asleep before I'd actually get to harvest. And even if I did get to harvest, I don't know, I'm probably going to do growth next. We will see, but as you can see, let's get on into this kind of power and water setup a little more. So this is super refineries, and all of these are going to be eventually connected to everything. I don't really know why I don't have them connected to the power. Oh, I remember, because I want to build 2 more brewing barrels so that I have 4 brewing barrels running, so that we can collect like 70 acid per barrel. So it's going to be like 400 acid a day just automatically collected. Not too shabby for a daily login bonus to acid, guys, if you do ask me. But as you can see here are the power generators. We have 6 of them placed down. We have like 2 or 3 electric eels. The water's pumped up through these pumps. Since the storage or the water storage container is lower than the pump and we connected the pipe to it, it's going to pull the water from, because it's powered, from the water storage to the new water storage from the pump. And then that water storage is gravity feeding all of our irrigators, and here's how the power pylons work. So the first one's for the pumps. The second one is actually for the irrigation system itself, and then we have the lighting on its own irrigation system. So we can shut off the irrigation system itself, we can go ahead and shut off the lighting itself, and we can shut off the water pump itself if we have plenty of purified water just sitting and we don't need any more. So all of that can be shut off. Pretty amazing if you do ask me. And here's what we have powered in the base, just our advanced synthesizer. We ran the wires all through the walls. We did the wiring pretty right here, I will say. We even ran those on top of the ceiling there. You don't need to see them, that's what it is, guys. We also tuned up our front door just a little bit. I don't really like it yet. There's still like a gap that is not closed. But we will get to that. This side is supposed to be the fertilizer storage chest. These are like in-wall storage chests, and while I don't mind them, the only problem I have is actually kind of accessing them. And if there's nothing on the wall, it's not too bad. And if you get it like from a corner and maybe they're sideways, really, I think you should be placing your chest sideways, doing these in-wall chests. And I'll quickly show you how I did this. It's a really simple way to do this, and you can do this with other things too. You can do a 2-high one and actually place a couple of the deviation facilities in here. I'm thinking actually about moving some gross rooms in here, maybe the Buzzy Bee. It's, something kind of to look at while you're in this farm here. But as you can see here, this side is for the fertilizer. I don't actually have any there. Like I said, we're starting this farm fresh with no fertilizer, and we just harvested the last of our crops being contaminated berries, so we have some acid brewing, and we need to go harvest all kinds of things for fertilizers and, the materials to make special fertilizers. So here's how we actually did it. You just take a half stone wall or any sort of half wall, place a mini ceiling tile down, and then place like as many as you can, and then half stone wall on the front and just wall all the way up, and you're able to kind of make like a walled in wall storage container. But I do believe this is about the end of the video. Go ahead and leave a like on it if you did enjoy it, and keep it beast mode.